Dear people who have a habit of spending a little bit too much money on awesome gear, I apologize in advance, but this video is going to be awesome. My name is Harris Heller. I run the Alpha Gaming YouTube channel, which is a channel dedicated to teaching you how to set up your stream, set up your gear, buying gear on a budget, stuff like that. But sometimes gear can improve the quality of your stream and can improve the quality of your life, the streamer. So let's dive right into it. Number one, and we have to start with the obvious one first. You'll understand why. The Streamdeck. You probably know what this is. It's your stream hub. You control your entire stream with the push of a button. You want to change which stream is being broadcasted? Set up a couple buttons. You want to turn on your lights or turn them off? Set up a couple buttons. Each button has a tiny little screen under it, so you can show exactly what you want. In fact, you can even have a little bit of fun with it. We did a whole video on this. Plus, the software is super intuitive, makes it very easy to customize. One of my favorite features about the Streamdeck that not a lot of people use is something called multi-actions, where you can layer multiple actions, as it says in the title, like multiple scene changes or transitions or whatever in a single press of a button, and even space them out with delays. So you can activate a transition, switch to a scene, activate a couple sources on that scene, all with one button. It's really cool. And I had to start with this one. I had to, because a couple devices later on actually utilized the Streamdeck for some extra features. You've got 3 sizes to work with: the standard one with 15 buttons, the mini with 6 buttons, and then the chonky boy, the Streamdeck XL, with 32 buttons, I want to say. It's a lot of buttons. I'm losing count, but I'm 8 by 4, 32. And by the way, links to the things that I mentioned are going to be in the description down below. Next, let's talk about one of my favorite subjects, cameras. If you're on Adorama, there's a good chance you're already familiar with DSLRs or mirrorless cameras. There's a good chance you already own one. And there's a good chance that that camera you own can actually be plugged into your PC and used as a webcam. This can be utilized for so much more than just streaming. It can be utilized for Zoom calls to make your business meetings look super professional, or Skype if you're talking with your parents and you want them to think that you're more put together than you really are. There are some pretty simple and affordable devices like the Cam Link that allows you to go straight out of your camera's HDMI directly into your PC. But if you want to get really fancy and turn on multiple angles, there are actually multi-capture cards, like for example the Cam Link Pro or the Blackmagic Deck Link Quad. Then you can go out and pick up some cheaper secondary cameras like old GoPros, or maybe used mirrorless cameras on eBay. I used to use really cheap action cameras from a company called Yi. They were like $50, and I would attach one to my ceiling, so between games I'd have this really cool like aerial view shot of my room. You just need to make sure that the device has power over USB so it doesn't die halfway through your stream, and make sure it has an HDMI out on it. It has some kind of clean output. But I think I saw a couple really cheap action cameras on Adorama that honestly I might have to try out and make sure they work. Getting crazy with cameras is an easy rabbit hole to fall down, but it's a very fun rabbit hole. Let's move on to mics. There are a ton of affordable USB microphones out there that plug straight into your PC and they just work. One of my favorites is the blue Snowball. I want to say it's $69 here in Adorama, but there are also some really cool audio accessories and interfaces, like for example, the GoXLR is one of my longtime favorites that I still use every day, that not only allow you to get studio quality out of an XLR mic, but also give you a ton of control at your fingertips. For example, there are 4 motorized faders on this device that you can set to nearly any input or output, so you can control them individually. I have mine set to microphone volume, teammate volume, gameplay volume, and music volume. I have another one actually set to headphone volume as well. That way you can control the volume of each individual source separately or mute them separately. And by the way, a little secret about the mute buttons, it has a special little feature. You can make a secondary mute function. For example, if I tap the mute button below my microphone, it only mutes me from my teammates. So if I die and they keep playing, I can just pull down my teammates' volume, mute myself, and talk to my chat while they're still playing and I'm not bothering them anymore. Or if I hold the mute button, it completely silences my voice from everything. Super cool function. But I'm telling you this in confidentiality. This is our secret. You're not allowed to tell anyone else about that, okay? That's our thing. Also, by the way, this thing has a fully functional voice changer built into it and a sampler on there so you can record sounds or your voice and then play them back at any point. But if you're not quite ready to drop $500 on an interface or even $250 on the mini version, which in my opinion is almost just as powerful, there are USB microphones that have very similar functionality. For example, one of my favorite USB mics is the Elgato Wave, which is a simple USB mic right off the surface, but it comes with software very similar to the GoXLR. You can assign different sources to different faders, and you can turn up or down your teammates or your gameplay or your music or any of these things, and it connects right to that Streamdeck that I mentioned before. So you can set different volume levels or up or down fader knobs, anything you want to any of those buttons on there. You can get an Elgato Wave 1 for $130 or a Wave 3 for $160. Both of them come with the exact same software. The Wave 1 just has fewer buttons on the microphone itself. Also, one more microphone. Sorry for talking about microphones so much. I just really enjoy microphones. But the Rode NT USB, which is only $99, actually just released accompanying software to go with it that works very similarly to the Elgato Wave microphone. It's a little bit different. It's more directed towards podcasting and connecting more than one microphone at a time, whereas the Elgato Wave mic is more for single person streamers that want to control multiple inputs at a time. Both great microphones, both at great budgets, linked down below. Let's talk about what the viewers see behind you. Your background. I have two favorite go-tos to make a background a little bit spicier. Does that word work? Spicier? Yeah, we're gonna go with spicier. The first one is lighting. Having some nice, clean, tasteful LED lights can make a boring room look much more fun to be in. It adds a lot of color and a lot of personality, and you can get it very easily with things like RGB floodlights, for example, that are relatively cheap and light up an entire area of your room. You can also get a little bit more stylized with things like beam lights, like I currently use in my room, or strip lights, which a lot of brands make, or tube lights, or I've even used RGB cubes at one point. It looks kind of cool. I only recommend you don't go overboard here. A little bit of RGB is fun. A lot of bit of RGB is a little tacky. Find that balance, you know, it's in there somewhere. But if you're stuck in the corner of a bedroom and there's nothing behind you, there's not a chance you're gonna be able to decorate a wall behind you with lights, there's another great option, and it's a green screen. Green screens come in all shapes and sizes and costs. Sometimes you can just get a green sheet and hang it over something, or you can get something fancy like a retractable green screen like the Elgato green screen, for example. Or I think even a couple other brands make it. But you can do a lot of cool stuff with a green screen. I mean, you can do the obvious stuff like put yourself in space or on a desert island, or even just throw like a color gradient behind you to look a little flashier or something. But we found a way to get super creative with it by taking a picture of my room and blurring that picture. We actually turned a cheap webcam into something that looked like a really nice DSLR with that shallow depth of field. So if you feel like your room isn't something that can really be spiced up, get a little creative with a green screen. They can be a lot of fun. But guys, there are a ton of accessories that you can use for streaming, even ones that aren't built for streaming. Like today on my stream, we actually took a wireless HDMI transmitter and we used it in a way to allow a camera in the back of the room to transmit over to my stream without having to run a cable all the way over there. And it turns out the thing can go like 150 feet and through walls. So if I wanted like a handheld stream camera, I could walk around the house and do that. Get creative. I just shared some tried and true ones that I use every single day. So if you have a favorite that maybe I missed, or you want to suggest some of the viewers watch, leave some in the comments down below. And as always, happy streaming.